All right, and welcome back to another session. And today we want to go over something, and that is how to identify stress in ourselves. Because as I think most of us are aware, or perhaps we're not aware, and this is why we're talking about it. When we are stressed, we sometimes think of stress as this like, oh, I'm yelling, I'm screaming, just this overreaction. When in reality, that's not always how stress manifests itself. And so, yeah, we want to go over and talk about, what are some signs, some identifiers that we can use to identify if we're having stress in ourselves.
First of all, we have to understand that stress is physiological, okay, activity. It has to do with chemicals that are being produced by the adrenals, which are hormones that induce changes, certain changes, metabolic, hormonal, immune, and stress psychological produce a level of inflammation. No, it's increased. So there is inflammatory markers, chemicals that are going to be impacting certain parts of the body. So we can see the symptoms, okay, physical symptoms, for example, no, if it's tension, okay, in the neck. So that's a sign that is some stress are going there. Okay, if it's light headaches that comes, here and there, they don't have to be constant. Okay, it can be, just during the day or a given time. Or if it's also a pain in the lower part of the back. So, or another sign if it's any type of inflammation in the intestines. Okay, or another way to measure is the level of energy. Okay, so if I uh, if I have time during the day where my level of energy is low, okay, this is a sign that stress is going. Okay, now we talk about this many times, Ulysses. Stress is not bad necessarily. Stress is a mechanism. Okay, when it's psychological stress, that is the problem. Okay, and that's when we stay uh, hyper focused on certain experiences. No, or we entertain thoughts that are really stimulating these mechanisms for a longer period of time. Then that's what the problem is. And of course, when we are young, it's very easy for us to kind of shift from a, a short pass of psychological stress, okay, to a more like amplify activity, the production of serotonin, where we feel better because we do sports, or we talk to our friends, or we are doing something novelty. No, in adults, unfortunately, these years of induced psychological stress, it becomes, reactive. No, it becomes something that it just happened automatically as soon as we are exposed to whatever we think, it is the cause of stress. No, whether it's money, uh, somebody we think is not good, or it could be a spouse that we think doesn't love us, or a kid that we think doesn't respect us. So, or perhaps, it could be with the encounter of our own thoughts, no, or memories that may arise or emerge, or encounter with emotions that may emerge from or for whatever reason. So this is the problem with stress, and we can notice, physically. So the problem is most of us, we separate this physiology, okay, with the body, with the brain, with the mind. No, we just separate. We think, oh, it's a headache and I got to take a pill,
Mm.
okay, to get rid of it. Or we say, it's just tension, and we do some things that are good. Massage, it helps. We can do other things that are really helpful. But of course, when these things happen, these experiences, we don't have time for a massage. We don't have time for meditation. No, we don't have time to go and run. No, so we can feel better. So these strategies are good, and it should be part of our daily life. well, not massage. We don't have time to do massage every day, but the walking or the meditation or praying or reflection, these things are good. No, and of course, but the issue about when something happened, the way how this an adult or a young adult, okay, that is already uh, creates circuitries that creates this immediate reactive response to the experience. It becomes so automatic, that we don't have time to really, at that moment, reflect or start meditating. No, because when the stress arises, okay, literally we are blocking connection between the frontal part of the brain to other circuitries. So there's no way how to put a break and really see what really is happening and discern truth and really kind of respond properly, or even have the ability at that moment to look into our own response, our own actions and our thoughts. We can't, because these chemicals, stress, are pretty much they have irrigate our brain cells, okay, and really activate areas of the brain that it keep inducing, this response. It keeps really hyper focus ourselves on memories of something that we think are the wrong thing. No, it's my son, and I gotta do something about this, and we do foolish things, and we, instead of fixing the problem and dealing with the conflicts, we make it worse. No, because now it's not only a chemical condition, now we're creating an environment that becomes toxic. No, the relationship with my son or my daughter or my spouse. And really, this is not only a metaphoric thing, it's just the building, like we're structuring something that is embedded into every activity in the family relationship, okay, or with my coworker or with my neighbor. So, and that becomes, a big problem, because that's the place I live. That's the people I see. And even if I don't see them, it doesn't matter. I had already built in my mind, circuitries and maps in regard to the person. And even if I decide to leave my son, not see you anymore, Ulysses, I say, I'm not going to see you anymore because he doesn't obey me. He created me more problems. This boy is just not doing the right thing. So if we do that, and if I do that, I cannot escape, because I'm taking with me the design and the structure, through circuitries in my brain about you, okay? And if I ignore your calls, I don't want to see you much, I talk to you very short because I still carry the problem. So that's another problem there. But anyways, going back to the point that we are here, symptoms. Physicals, we already haven't seen. Other symptoms are a desire to eat too much, craving for sugar stuff, for flour stuff, craving for sweets, craving for fried things, okay? And that's another sign that there is a problem. Or another sign, if I skipping meals, okay, that's a sign that there's some hormonal issues going that are being interfered. So the normal clock hungry in the day is being interrupted. So there's no hormones that are being produced that make me feel like hungry when I'm supposed to. Okay, so that's a sign that there's stress. Or if I'm eating too late. See, for some reason I'm so hungry late at night. No, it's another sign. Now, what this has to do with stress? Okay, well, these behaviors are nothing but a response from a unbalance of hormonal balance. So I don't feel hungry when I'm supposed to. I feel hungry when I'm supposed to. I'm craving for things that are high level of of energy. So, and that is not because I don't have the energy, and my body needs all these goodies, no? But it's because there is my metabolic system is being affected, no? So I'm not really utilizing the energy that's in the in the body, and then it's like something blocked this access to glucose and other chemicals that are being stored on the liver or storage on my muscles that or the adipose cells. So my brain is starving because this cortisol activity of stress, it produces this feeling of a lack of energy. I feel drained. No, so that's another sign. So these are signs that is not difficult to identify. So we got to be honest. No, and of course, it's hard sometimes, okay? Because when we have stress, we don't see the truth. We want to blame the outside world like it's the one that's causing the stress. It's my brother, it's my sister, it's the money, it's the finances, it's somebody else, okay? It's nothing wrong that's going on. So it's a typical. Okay, now let's go back to the part, which is our cognitive behavior, okay? When we have the tendency to, in the middle of conflict, to defend ourselves, that is a sign that you are chronic stress. Okay. And I'm not talking about issues that are danger to our life. No, of course we have to defend ourselves when it's danger. No, there's a big conflict. Somebody's gonna do something that will harm me. I have to defend myself. No, somebody's gonna harm my kid, my spouse, a person on the street. I'm going to do something to defend that person, and protect them. But I'm talking about a typical conflict, a conversation where there is difference of opinions. No, you have an opinion, I have a different one, and then you notice that I made a mistake, and I do justify, no, or defend myself, no. So if I do this, it's a sign that I have chronic stress. No, I mean, the people in the audience might say, well, what? They don't have to really get my point here because she's the one that made the mistake. Well, the point is not about the mistake itself, okay? But it's about what is of a higher priority. When there is no chronic stress, there's a higher priority, okay? The higher priority is not at that specific moment when the conflict arises. It is really to understand what is happening so we can learn. I can learn from your opinion. I can learn from that experiences. So when psychological stress is there, it's just this tendency to always kind of excuse ourselves. No, really it was traffic. No, that's why I didn't make it on time. No, it is this other stuff. Okay? And of course there was traffic. No, and of course that was the reason why I came late. But on this higher priority, and when the conflicts arise, we are most looking into something that's of bigger value, which is my relationship with a person, and independent who is wrong or right. Okay, and of course we're going to deal with the conflict, but the point is that in the beginning of this conflict, when the difference arises, okay, the level of conscience is so high when we are in that point. Actually, it's more important what you feel because I came late. Okay, then that I was right, or that there really was a legitimate excuse for me to be late. Okay, so that chronic stress, impaired that ability to see. Okay, because in the middle of all these things, there is, like, for example, in a relationship like father and son. Okay, your feelings are more important than who's right. Okay, that becomes a higher priority. No, you felt that I made you wait. You have other things and you were irritated by that. No, you were uncomfortable with that. So I'm more willing to listen and understand that. Okay. But if I come and say, look, son, it wasn't my fault. It was the traffic. That doesn't satisfy. The opportunity that was created through this conflict for us to really understand our feelings and for me to become empathetic, and apply compassion. through the process of this experience. So that is what it really is. It's just important to understand. And this can be under any circumstance. I could be late, or maybe I make a mistake. Maybe it wasn't intentional. Maybe I say the things that the wrong way. Okay. And if you got that, okay, and you tell me that, look at what you say. And I say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't notice. Okay. But I haven't really have a chance to really understand what you felt at the moment that I say this. And of course, saying sorry is okay, but I also had to really combine this way to deal with the conflicts. Understand the way you feel. Doesn't mean that I'm going to really butter you up or trying to remove your experience or the way you felt. What it means is we are, through the process of interacting, we're learning each other to live together. Okay, accept the differences and understand the feelings. Okay, and create this interconnection that integrate our life that is beneficial for me and beneficial for you. And then once when this is done, then we can talk about the issue. Yeah, we can talk about, I understand your feelings. You were irritated because you have another meeting and you were waiting for me. And I understand. And now I can move to the compassion part, to my part. Ulysses, I'm sorry. No, it won't happen again. I'm going to plan another 10 minutes ahead of time to go to the meeting so you don't have to really be waiting and feel this way again. No. And if it happens again, then okay, we'll deal with that again. And then we move to the conflict, to solve the problem. And the problem with stress is we want to solve the problem before even we understand the whole process of interacting with another human being, those who we love, those are strangers. We want to solve it right away. It's like trying to cut in corners. It doesn't work. You may say, okay, I accept your apology. But at the end of the day, I haven't really done a good job of creating this solution that will affect us both in a positive way. So learning experience. So that's some of the things. Another thing is the way you sleep. If you're not sleeping and it's a pattern, okay, every day sleeping not well, it could be a sign that you are running through chronic stress, anxiety, or perhaps some depression. We talk about if it's no motivation to do the things that you like to do, if you love biking, but you lost the motivation, or you like dancing and you just no longer, feel like dancing, you love singing or you love people but no longer feel connected and you feel like, so that's a sign of chronic stress. If you are disconnecting from okay, and of course there are chemicals associated with this motivation is dopamine. So because chronic stress and stress hormones affect areas of the brain that produce dopamine. And if you feel disconnected, you will withdraw. You don't want to visit family anymore. Okay. You don't want to be with people, or you avoid people, or you are with people, but you are not emotionally connected. Okay. That's a sign that there is chronic stress. And then we have to work with that. Doesn't mean that we cannot reverse this. I'm just bringing some of the signs. Not everybody have all those signs at the same time. Okay. But, we can look at that. And another thing is you are too hyperactive, your mind is always going and thinking. That's chronic stress. You are want to control the world. No, this is perfectionism. Everything has to be well, or if it's obsession, you gotta get there and get these things and get it done. And these have nothing to do with motivation or being resilient. This is like obsession. Everything I will do. I'll sacrifice everything, my family, God, everything, my health, just to get that. Improve to my mom, my dad, the world that I'm just the best of the best. So that's chronic stress. It gives you energy, yeah. You might still have a lot of energy by moving yourself, and that's a lot of adrenaline, which is not good. okay? Because your body will get an impact on that. So if you are a warrior, always thinking of the future, or there's an experience that you think how this is gonna affect me, and then just keep rolling in your mind, see things that never happen. Somebody said, I don't know who said this, but it says, uh, I think it was a man that was already in his 80s, and he say, there's been thousands of bad things, that I gone through my life. But out of those thousands of bad things that got through my life, only 2 or 3 bad things happened. The rest was imaginary. Okay. Okay. And he say that brought me illness, uh, conduct my life to lose my spouse and lose a second spouse and disconnect with my family. Say, unfortunately, I didn't understood how these worries, can create so much of damage, physically and mentally, into the environment. So that's some of the signs, and of course there are so many more there. But for now, I guess this is probably enough for us to understand what are the signs that we went through chronic stress. And it's hard to see it. It's hard to accept it. Most people knows. So, and hide from this, our spouse knows, our kids knows, neighbors know, friends know. Friends don't tell us much. They don't want to lose a friendship. No, that's why they don't tell you, hey, you are under stress. I mean, your spouse might will, you may not like it. You may think that he or she is crazy, okay, or he is magnifying, but most people can see because we can hide things. They're very obvious, can be read even in your smile. Okay, very good. I hope this is, you have a comment, Ulysses. This probably brings some other match to this.
No, I think just as you were saying, what's important to remember is that you can be smiling and still be under stress. You can, we bring up these, I guess, these signs of chronic stress, not as a way to say, "Oh, look at you, you have chronic stress," but just as a way to help you identify if you're going through chronic stress, because obviously, as we've mentioned before, chronic stress will lead to other health issues, relationship issues, even issues with your finances. And so learning to identify when you're starting to get, overly stressed, when you start to have that psychological stress is important so that you can basically reel it in, reconcile whatever's happening and live a healthier life.
Of course, and from that, it comes the behavior, for good or for bad. So if we are able to do what you just mentioned, understand what it is, okay, be able to have the resources to make the changes, and then we can live a peaceful, healthy life. On the other side, we could maintain habits that are not healthy and affect our body and eventually, maybe have a chronic disease.